Hey y'all, we're gonna make cornbread today. This is just a 2-ingredient cornbread. I discovered it at a friend's house and I'll tell you about that as I'm making it. 2 ingredients, buttermilk and cornmeal. I love the cornmeal, white lily cornmeal mix. That's what I like, and I keep this bag in the freezer and I store it in a jar to use every day, and that's all we're gonna use. So let's get to cooking. So I'm gonna grease my pan very heavy with Crisco, and you can use an off-brand, but I like Crisco. I have another cornbread recipe video on here. I did a couple of them of my best friend's cornbread. One night when we moved here to the lake house, our neighbor invited us to come over, and we were starving for a home-cooked meal. And they're like in their almost 40 maybe, a lot younger than us. And she said, we're just having vegetables, and I think she had pork chops. And I said, oh, that sounds so good. We were remodeling this house and we were having to eat out. And it just sounded so good. We didn't even have this kitchen yet. So I want you to see how I'm greasing the pan. I'm greasing it very heavy and all the way to the top. So anyway, it was raining that night and we were so excited for a good home-cooked meal, and didn't know it was gonna be as good as it was. But we drove over there, and the first thing I saw was chickens, and y'all know I love chickens, so which I'm planning to get soon over here. But anyway, we walked in and the meal smelled heavenly, and I looked at her cornbread and I said, oh my goodness, your cornbread looks like mine. And she said, I hope it's good. And I said, oh, I'm sure it will be, but I never expected it to be as good as it was. Not for any reason, just because I've had my best friend Vicky's cornbread. So later on, I asked her, I said, how did you get your cornbread to look like that? And she said, we love it crunchy and thin. And I said, that's exactly how we like it. So we ate. It was very nice, very homey and comfy, and they made us feel very welcome. And me and Sweet Hunter both were amazed at the cornbread. It honestly tasted just like mine. And so later on I asked her, I said, how did you make that cornbread? And she said, I just used 2 ingredients, buttermilk and cornmeal. And I said, oh my goodness, I've got to try that. So I don't normally measure, but I'm gonna measure this for y'all. I'm just gonna guess, because we like ours thin and crunchy. And let me tell you, you do not have to use an iron skillet. You can use any pan, just grease it good. So I'm gonna put maybe 1.5 cups. Let's try 1.25 cups of white lily cornmeal. Again, use your preference, but that's mine. So I've got my cornmeal in there. I used 1.25 cups. And all I'm gonna do is add buttermilk. And I'm gonna start with 1 cup and see how much. What we're gonna do is we are gonna get this to the consistency of cake batter. So I'm just gonna pour this in and stir it with a wooden spoon. This is so easy, y'all, and that's what I like. I like easy things. So I did 1 cup. Let's see how it turns out. Let's see if it turns out like a thick, thick cake batter, and I believe it's going to. I may add just a smidgen more buttermilk, not much. This is just for the 2 of us, so I'm using a small pan. All right, so you can see the consistency. It's pretty thick, and I'm not gonna overload the pan. I'm just gonna put in what I need, because it will rise. So now we're just gonna pour this into this pan. It's not heated, it's just greased really heavy. I'm gonna pour this cornmeal into the pan. And I'm just gonna spread it out. And that was the perfect amount for this pan, I believe. If you like it a little bit thinner, your batter, you can get it that way, but like I said, we like it thin and crispy. So now it's time to put it in the oven, so that's what we're gonna do next. I've got my oven preheated at 500 degrees. And we're gonna put this in, and it probably should be 20 to 25 minutes, but I'll let you know when it's done. So I'm really tired. I have cooked okra today and froze okra, and you can see videos on both of those, frying okra the way Sweet Hunter's granny did it, and freezing okra the way she did it. It's great and it's easy. And it's nice to have okra in the winter. But right now we're waiting on our cornbread, and I thought I'd tell you another little story. So you see this apron I have on. This was my Grandma Cochran's apron, and she collected eggs in it. And as many of you know, I just lost my mom July the 21st. And Mama gave me this long, long ago, and I treasure it. I just treasure it. It's her mom's. Mom knew that I would really appreciate it, and I'm very thankful I have it. So y'all keep us in your prayers as we go through this time of grieving for my mama. But I'm gonna go get that cornbread out. She loved cornbread. She loved iron skillets. She couldn't lift them anymore, but she loved my cornbread. I got to where I didn't even buy her gifts because she would rather have a pan of cornbread, so that's what I'd take her to her house. Isn't that sweet? It's been about 25 minutes, and I'm gonna get my cornbread out. We like ours dark and thin and crispy. Looks good, don't it? You should smell it. Now let's see how it comes out of the pan. It should come right out. Oops, yep. I actually like to turn it over. It didn't flip though. Slid right out. Look at that, y'all. So good. Only 2 ingredients too. I mean, goodness gracious. I really never thought I would see a cornbread that I liked as good as my best friend Vicky's cornbread, but this really is good, and I thank Justin for it, my neighbor, who told me how to make it, and I came home and tried it. We loved it. It's delicious, easy, 2 ingredients, cornmeal mix and buttermilk. Honestly, it's great. Y'all go cook something.